Well, welcome everyone to day 2 of the loneliness event, the epidemic. It's quite ironic that we have quite a few people here, so kind of already going against that loneliness expectation. That's kind of the shift coming from our culture as a result of COVID. So really glad to see everyone here for whatever reason that is. I hope that you leave feeling a little less lonely and a little more equipped to, just build long-lasting and fulfilling relationships. And on that note, I will be, of course, talking about, yes, new friends. Old and new, welcome to all, whether that's your first time coming across me and presenting, or you've been rocking with me for presentation after presentation. I'm so glad to have you alongside all the lovely panelists here as well. So I will go ahead and get started here. Yes, so yes, new friends, building healthy connections. Again, my name is Devin Green. I'm a sex and relationship therapist. So a lot of my work is centered around not only building, but maintaining healthy relationships. I do a lot of work with clients who are either just beginning their healing journey or in the tail end of it. And something I've found to be consistent, a question I wonder is, who's around you? Who's in your circle? Who's supporting you? Where is your tribe? And what ways do you find connection and connectivity, not only within yourself, but in the world around you? And no matter how much healing that's done, unless that is in order or unless we have that conversation, there's always a slight risk of falling back into old habits and behaviors and patterns that we move so much time towards working against. A lot of people don't understand that the work that I do with him doesn't end when I'm virtual. So when we close the laptop and, that's when it truly begins. So having a healthy connection and friend group and support system is a valid part of that. So I'm going to be speaking obviously on friends a lot here today. It may sound, friends like we're in school and something, but it's actually something that you constantly need to consider and reevaluate well on into adulthood. I'm in my 30 somethings. I still on a consistent level am evaluating who's around me and what ways they're fulfilling me and pouring into me. So without further ado, we will dive into the conversation. Let me just check the chat really quick to make sure. Yes, hello. Okay, so I want to first define a concept that Shasta Nelson has coined, and it's called frientimacy. When working with, couples in relationship or working with group dynamics or working with individuals just looking for friends in general, it's just a very foreign concept to them. Nobody teaches us, this is a basic need of wanting to connect since we're like little babies, right? As we grow into middle school, high school, college, nobody really gives you the blueprint of how to be a friend, what to look for when it comes to friends. We just kind of either have those lifelong friends that we've just been around with forever. We kind of surround ourselves with people that say they're our friends, but maybe I only go to party with them or only go to, to create contact with them or only go to, they're very specific. So what I like to do first is really redefine or at least introduce what frientimacy is and what that concept is so that we can start from there and have some kind of groundwork before we start to get into some more detailed, deep topics. So frientimacy is defined as a deep, meaningful, and satisfying relationship where friendship intimacy has the environment and culture for conducive personal and professional growth that flourishes on a daily basis. On a daily basis, right? Not just when y'all link up, not just when we party together or, engage in gossip together, and forgive my toxic glimpses of what I've been around. But this is what I've witnessed in my clients and in my friend groups as well. So really getting outside of that thing that intimacy is only meant for romantic relationships, but transferring that into friendships and connections and communities, in business relationships and family relationships as well. So when it comes to frientimacy, there's 3 main factors that make it up, but positivity is at the root. We cannot coexist with the other 2 until positivity is in place. Do our connections make us feel positive? Do they have a positive aspect, tone, atmosphere around them? When I'm anticipating and hanging out with these people or and connecting with these individuals or being around this friend or this business group or this networking event, is it a positive preparation that I'm getting ready to be a part of? When I'm leaving those type of settings and being around those individuals and leaving those type of connections, is it a positive way that I'm feeling when I leave? It's a very played out therapist term that we say, but how do they make you feel? How do these connections serve you? Are they fulfilling? Do they leave you drained? Are they exhausting? Without having that positivity piece, the consistency and vulnerability can't even be touched, right? We can't even move on to that point until the positivity is established. So, in building connections and in reevaluating and reassessing our current connections, that should come first. Consistency. Are you the one constantly reaching out, constantly, making plans, constantly, investing in this person, or is it an exchange? Are they consistent with you as well? And whether we're talking about friends that you already have or friends that you're looking to pursue, connections that you're hoping to make, you got to be consistent. I did a lot of moving around. I East Coast, West Coast, South, everywhere in between. And it came with having to build my support system, my connections, my friend groups from the ground up. That could get exhausting, right? Especially when, that social battery can run out. But I remember someone telling me, Devin, they're not going to come knocking on your door. You got to be consistent. You got to, you know, invite somebody out, and if they say no, try again. You gotta not ghost or flake on people. You gotta show up in yourself and your relationships and have that same expectation for the connections that you have in your life as well. And last but not least is vulnerability. At a glance, just looking at your current connections or the connections that you want to call in, how likely is it that you could be vulnerable in those type of dynamics? Can you be seen? Can you be heard? Can you show part of yourselves that you are unapologetic for and be carried through that, right? Two things are happening there. You could either be vulnerable in a sense that they are creating a safe space for you to be vulnerable, that you can share and you can connect and you could, speak on things that you can't really go to with anyone else. But it's also a two-way street. Can you be vulnerable with them? Are you able to feel safe and let the guards down and do so that that intimacy, the three corners of the triangle can meet and intersect. So before we, dive even deeper, I really just want to kind of have this concept be a little bit of a groundwork because when we talk about friends and connections, people don't really know what that should look like, what's healthy, what's not. So I figured just kind of introducing this to kind of just guide us will be a really great place to start it and go from there. Just check the chat. Hey, everyone, welcome. Okay, so connection evaluation. Once we kind of have that intimacy definition in mind and kind of being the groundwork of where we want to go, you can now kind of shift the focus into the connections that you currently have. Um, we say yes, new friends, because it's out with the old, in with the new. At some point, you're going to have to evaluate the current friendships, connections, and relationships within your life. Don't feel bad if you haven't done it at this point. There's no deadline, or this is a consistent evaluation throughout time. But if you haven't thought about doing this, now may be the time to doing so, especially if you attended this webinar with, expectations to really have some tangible things to apply and really start to change your life and your friendships with. So before I even dive into this, I just want to do a quick room temperature. How many people out there have, at any point in time, evaluated their current friend group, circle, or connections? Okay. I love the interaction. Okay, never until today, Bill. Yes. Still working? At least you started, Ashley. Good. Yes, yes. First time, absolutely. Yep. Removing them, learned to recently do this. I do it often. Okay, I have often, never did till I got burned. Yeah, so we have a mixed range of things. I'm glad the people that are already doing the work, hopefully I may introduce something that may be different that you could add or, omit to what you're already doing. And the people that have never done it before, welcome. Like I said, it's not a bad thing if you haven't already, but these aren't things that we're taught, unless you're maybe not even in therapy. This isn't something that people typically know what to fall into unless they've been burned, like someone said, or unless something happened. So I'm just going to introduce a little mini self-check that you can do to, for one, make sure everybody around you is self-serving and leading into your best interest and vice versa. And two, so that you can always have this just within your conscious, right? Planting a seed. So moving forward, okay, I remember that talk. Maybe this is something I need to evaluate. So when we're evaluating friendships, connections, relationships, again, this could be business, personal, or just friends there. You always want to look for a balance. Like I mentioned earlier, are you pouring more into this person more than they're pouring into you? Sometimes they don't, that imbalance isn't conscious within both parties, but it happens, right? So it's your responsibility to kind of do that check to make sure, okay, they're asking for another favor. I'm the one creating space for them to vent. They want to go out. They want to, when I need advice, am I able to, in the same way, come to them? When I want to, is it balance? That's kind of the first thing to kind of see, okay, if I need to look further or if that's fine there. Second, you want to ensure that you both have individual interests. This surprises people, right? They think they should surround themselves with people that think like them, have the same perspective and interests and goals and passions. Not so, right? You don't want to be surrounded by people that are copies, are mimics, are, that you are now embedding within one another's overall worldview. That's kind of like following everybody that likes the same things as you. Now you got algorithms only posting and showing things you're interested in. You have to open the mind up, and creating a circle that's diverse and different can do so. So completely fine if y'all aren't into the exact same things. Gonna keep mentioning a lot here today. Think about how your friend makes you feel. It sounds so juvenile, how do they make you feel? But that is a very powerful question. That, for one, gives you that emotional intelligence to turn within and say, you know what? I probably do need to think about that. They make me feel drained, or they make me feel joyful. I'm looking forward to meeting with them again and hanging out and making plans with them, or I'm kind of dreading that thing that we had, that event that we had together. Um, Especially with those friendships that have been ongoing since for years, right? We kind of get tapped into that rhythm, that flow. It's okay to interrupt that by asking yourself this question and being honest of the answer of what's on the other side of that. It's completely okay if things have shifted. People grow, people evolve, people, you know, want different things in life and live their lives a different way from when they first started in the beginning of the connection or the relationship. So constantly checking in on that piece is going to be important too. Reconsider overly critical connections. It's sad, we probably all have that friend who always has the opinion. They always kind of have something to say. And don't get me wrong, constructive feedback and criticism is healthy within the friend. You don't want a lot of yes people around you. You want people that are able to hold you accountable and call you out, at times, and when it's consensual feedback. But when they're just constantly negative and kind of over criticizing, really tap in to see, could this be glimpses of jealousy? Could this be glimpses of resentment or some unresolved issue? That has to be a big part of evaluation as well. Does the friendship feel like an obligation? My best friend I met on the school bus when I was in elementary. I'm a Scorpio, I'm from the South, so I'm by default very loyal. If you're my friend, we're friends for life. But then I had to evaluate that and say, okay, how was that loyalty piece turning now into obligation? you outgrow people, especially again, those long-lasting relationships, even the short-term ones. People change, especially if you're here, you're with Pineapple, you're on the journey of healing. That's going to come with dramatic shifts constantly. And not all of our friends, connection, networks, and communities are going to make it with us on that journey, right? So not ever feeling obligated to stay somebody's friend, stay invested in someone, stay within a connection or network or group that's no longer serving you, right? Evaluate that constantly. Identify what is unhealthy. This could be hard when we're either accustomed to certain dynamics or we ourselves are struggling with boundaries or what healthy or unhealthy is. So that's why that identify, not addressing, not calling out, but first identifying for yourself, what is going to be unhealthy for me in friendships? Is calling me at 2 in the morning to vent, some people might think, oh, you're a good friend. Some people think, okay, you're crossing a boundary. Is that unhealthy for you? Kind of going into a lot of triggers. A lot of people kind of dump and do that verbal diarrhea and kind of vent in a way that may be triggering for you or may cause secondary trauma for you. Especially in this work where people kind of process a lot of different things that go on that people haven't processed within themselves. So identifying what is unhealthy for you so that you can communicate that for others is going to be vital too. Most importantly, decide whether you want to mend or end this connection, friendship, or relationship, right? This isn't a conversation, especially where the next slide is going, saying, hey, evaluate all your friendships. If they're not meeting your expectation, we need to dead it. We need to end it. No, there's also mending as well, right? If you're able to have the conversation, communicate yourself in a way that they can see and hear and are open to revisions and vice versa, providing feedback to you as well, then absolutely mend it. We are here, after all, for yes, new friends, but that could mean new types of friendships that already exist as well. And if that is an option, moving towards termination or ending. It happens. Just like with dating and in romantic relationships, just like with business relationships, we need to start normalizing that, hey, sometimes friendships end, and that's okay. Having gratitude and expressing appreciation for what was and what had the potential to be but didn't quite make it is absolutely fine too. And whether you want to mend or whether you want to end, the most important thing you have to do in evaluating connections is having the conversation. A lot of people do all the work. We're evaluating, we're recognizing what's unhealthy, we're attending the talks, the webinars on loneliness, and it ends there, right? I understand people heal at their own pace in their own journey, but really would recommend, especially for my clients, how can we get towards having the conversations, right? Because that's how you advocate for yourself, your connections, your expectations of what you're allowing around you, and just making it clear. Something about vocalizing and owning it is truly powerful too. Okay, I'm gonna check in with the chat. Okay. Yeah, reciprocation, very important, very important. You don't want friends that hate you, no. And sometimes you get glimpses of that. If you get that vibe, again, evaluate, check in, really see what the undertone of that is. Shout out to Scorpios. Yeah, one-sided friendships are not healthy. And a lot of people don't know when they're in a one-sided friendship until, again, we evaluate or talk about it or sit with it more. Yeah, Kelly, thank you. Oh, I love that. Stop those who use the friendship rather than want to work with me and have a good partnership. Yeah, this is a two-way street. This is a give and take. Reciprocation, right, is going to be the key word today. Yeah, because when things get one-sided, when it's a one-way street, when there's more giving than taking, more pouring than being poured into, we're going to have a problem. Let's talk about that now. Thank you, Kelly. Where does silent in or not tell versus I like to end? Okay, Kamora, yeah, good question. We're definitely going to dive into that because that is where a lot of people get stuck, that ghosting that ghosting behavior there. Okay. Oh, okay. So if you decide to mend it and hopefully they're on the same page, hopefully you guys can kind of pivot from that, recover, have the conversation, learn from one another. It's amazing. Yes, new friends. Yes, new friends in a new way. Awesome. Absolutely. But it doesn't always work out like that, right? So, like I said before, normalizing friendship breakups. When is that a thing? No, because a lot of us ghost, and I'm guilty of it. I am big on, let's just let things fizzle out, or oh, I moved, so I just lost contact with them. But honestly, how sad is it that I'm sure people still follow people, but you're scrolling. Oh my gosh, look at them. They're doing so great. I remember where we used to be like this. We were inseparable. I wonder what happened. Maybe, and it kind of sucks, right? And I tend to find that that happens for both parties. I know we're in a culture of kind of, being silent, letting things fizzle out, letting things run its course. But it's so important to have the breakup if that's what it's coming to. And I'm going to let you know why. I mentioned earlier how it's so normal. We will in a minute put that 2-week resignation letter at a toxic job, right? We will in a minute break up with, a partner that's toxic or emotionally or verbally, physically abusive, all those things. We will break up with a connection network that it isn't right with us, right? But when it comes to friendships, it's not normal, right? You often hear of, oh yeah, me and that friend broke up. I probably in my years of therapy only heard one client introduce that to me. So really want to introduce, the breakup. And again, I promise we'll end on a lighter note. But again, in order to get to the other side, to the healthy, we gotta weave out, the toxic, the what's no longer serving us. So if you're reaching towards breakup, if you can't make amends with the group or connection or friend or whoever, it's time to shift focus into the boundary setting for yourself, which is breaking up, right? So in doing so, you do want to make a list of reasons as why you're ending the friendship. That evaluation piece from the other slide is a very good place to start. Um, and just being thorough with that. Like, okay, you made me sad. Like, no, it really hurt when you said you were going to come through for me. And this is like the 5th time where that's been an empty promise. And get very specific, give examples, give receipts. I'm big on that, but not in a way to attack or throw it in people's face, but to have that concrete evidence for yourself to make you feel, okay, I'm right in deciding this and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Setting a time to meet face to face. This is not a text. This is not a voice note. This is not Instagram. This is a face-to-face conversation. People who move around like me, FaceTime at best, but you want to have the same level of respect as you would with a 2-week resignation notice or with, breaking off with people you used to make content with or breaking off with a relationship. You probably wouldn't, hopefully not, do it in a text, but even if you did, I want to invite you to have these conversations face to face with the individual. Practice in the mirror, practice with a therapist, practice with someone else, but just for the respect of the relationship that was and for, the growth that you want to be, try to push yourself to do so. Using positive I statements. Like I was saying, I felt like when you X, Y, and Z, it made me feel like ABC. I feel like taking a lot of, not giving them too much blame, not being so much the victim. And you could very well be that in a sense, right? People can be pretty messed up and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, we typically know who these friends or these connections or these networks are pretty early on. Time goes on, whether we think they'll change or okay, I'm just kind of peeping things, we kind of tend to see it. So really taking ownership on how you felt as opposed to just staying with what they did, what they did, what they did. Being empathetic when listening and take accountability, that's easier said than done. Like that's a whole nother seminar on one bullet point. But yeah, just really not blaming, not being mad, not being angry, not being upset, but really understanding that this conversation is taking place because I'm choosing me over the friendship or over what you have been um leaving me to settle it over however long has been. Give yourself grace for taking care of your well-being. That's so important. It's easy to put on some bullet points and talk about this, but full transparency, I've probably broken up with a friend twice within my lifetime. It's a hard thing to do. I much rather ghost. I much rather just kind of go on silent and kind of fall back until they get the hint. I much rather things kind of run its course. But I owe it to myself. You owe it to yourself to make room for healthier relationships. And it just cannot be done if you're occupying that space with people or dynamics or connections that are no longer serving you. I will not say that enough. So yes, don't ghost your friend. They deserve to be told about the friendship ending. They deserve to know the reasons why. Not only for them, but for you to educate them. Maybe this is the first time in their entire life that they're being put on notice about their behavior. I had no idea I made you feel that way. So setting them up for success in a way for their future relationships by doing so, and also being your own advocate. You can't do that with the avoidance and the ghosting. Don't give in to their promises that they'll change. Unless it's a new relationship, couple months, maybe, but if you've been friends or had a connection, part of community for a while, and this is who they are, it's not your responsibility to change them, convince them, or be there while they figure that out. Give them pineapple supports information. We have many therapists that could help them out with that, but that is not your responsibility. So don't give in to those promises. And again, the guilt piece is heavy, right? It's a thing. Um, you know, you could feel guilty, but not excessively guilty. It takes two people to be in any type of relationship, right? So it's not 70-30, 60-40, it's 50-50. So, it's okay to have the healthy amount of guilt when we're seeing things in terms of numbers there, but don't ever take this on as your own fault, right? And with that, don't confuse your feelings. You could grieve, you could be in grief, you could be sad about a relationship, just like with a breakup, right? We're getting the ice cream, we're doing the dramatics. You could do the same with a friend, or connection, but do not confuse those feelings as I did something wrong. Let me run back to that connection or that relationship or that person. You know who they are, you know who they're going to continue to be. It's okay to be sad or have, grief about something ending, wherever it is in life, but not letting that get confused with you slipping back into old behaviors and patterns and connections that no longer serve you. Yeah, a friend is good at friendship breakups, learn a lot. Yeah. Goes, but I've ended a couple when I was feeling brave. Yeah, lots of courage to do so. I think we've all been victim of ghosting, so at least we're in that together. But yeah, being brave is honorable. Thank you. Don't work for nerve. Oh yeah. Yeah, Mary, thank you for that. This is an all-inclusive space. So yeah, definitely if that isn't a fit for you and you have more confidence through other means, absolutely take that avenue and take that route. I think either today or tomorrow, there may be a talk, correct me if I'm wrong, but on neurodivergent folks and ways that they can communicate effectively. That is my recommended take, but again, that's me and my reality and my worldview. So thank you, Mary, for calling that out and opening up the space for other type of avenues that may serve you better. That could be a letter, that could be, anything that you find strength and power in. and also communicate to them that, hey, I'm doing it through this form of method because, whatever may be going on, as opposed to not having the respect for you to come face to face. So thank you, Mary. Oh, okay. So once we have this newly defined expectation of what friendimacy is, right? We're evaluating our current connections we're bringing in, connections that either need to be mended or ended. Mended, fine, continue on that path, continue to do the work, continue to evaluate. It doesn't stop there, it's continuous. But if it's ending, then shifting towards that breakup talk, whether it's, face to face, letter, and whatever the case, have that talk. And if you can't even work up the courage, or I'm hearing a lot of, hey, it's hard to be brave sometimes, it's hard to do that, at least have that conversation with yourself in the mirror with a therapist. I'll admit, little mini therapy sessions with myself. I turn on my back camera and talk it out with myself and have a conversation with myself. Just getting it out and having that mirror is in itself healing and firing some neural pathways that tells your brain that I can do it, even if it's not actually happening. So role playing, mimicking, mirroring, you could start to do those things until you're ready. And if not, that's okay too. But as long as you're having that conversation with yourself, you do all that work, now what? How can I now find healthy connections? Where do I go? Where do I start? Just like I said, it sounds so silly. My friend had to tell me, hey, people are not going to come knocking on your door. I was in New York at the time where literally outside my door, a lot of things were going on, but that was very true. I had to get out there. I can only speak on methods that have worked for me. If people have other suggestions, if there's other things out there, please introduce. But again, I don't feel comfortable in speaking on things or avenues that I haven't vetted for, been a guinea pig with myself and found success within myself. So in trying to find connections, there of course are those traditional routes, people you work with, people you do content with, people you meet at seminars and support groups, people that you meet at the gym or doing your other activities. Those are all old school, but still very healthy and realistic ways to build community and find community. But we're also, as we've been, evolving into this modern space, right? Modern world where it's kind of more easier to meet online and find meetups and things. So I'm going to speak on three main ones that have worked for me, and maybe you could give a try yourself if you're up to it. First is obviously Pineapple Support. Shout out to Pineapple, right? They have a number of different support groups and seminars and retreats even at some points in the year where you could meet like-minded or unlike-minded individuals. And it's a plethora of resources and opportunity to meet people if you want to build community, and especially a community that has the common interest of healing and figuring out, how to have new friends and meaningful connections. So definitely a good start. Bumble BFF, it's been hit or miss for me. I'm kind of biased. I've downloaded it in different coasts, and obviously you have um, different atmospheres, different cultures, different things of that nature. But for the most part, it has been successful. You could meet other individuals that are looking for friends. You could put a little bio and be very specific, point out your interests, things that you like to do, things that you have intention of building, and being very meaningful with that. But again, remembering that consistency piece, don't just match and let it sit there, right? Let's meet up. Let's set up a date. Let's go grab coffee. Let's grab a drink. Let's take a walk. Just kind of putting stuff out there until eventually something sticks. But just as much you put in the clock and the hours and the time to, do your job or, take care of yourself, you have to put in the same, right? To build connections if that's what you truly want. Another one that I found useful, maybe more out of date, but it's Meetup. I mean, I like to eat spaghetti meetups to hiking meetups to you name it. I was part of a Sex and the City meetup back in New York. Like you could find anything when it comes to that. And just be finding community. Especially, I think a lot of more people now are moving around a lot, straying from home, kind of to start over again, build community again. And that could be very daunting. We are in the loneliness pandemic. I think it started in COVID, but it's just kind of stayed there, right? So people are longing for connection and maybe not knowing quite where to start. So if you're kind of overwhelmed with the options and just want to, let me just try one thing, take it step by step. Today I'll download the app. Tomorrow I'll actually swipe through it. The next day I'll actually say hi. Take doses of it, right? Don't try to dive in and unless you have the social battery for it, go all crazy. But if not, it's okay to take a step back. So that's some healthy ways to kind of build community and at least start somewhere. I'm gonna see if there's any other suggestions okay, yeah. Bumblebee FF, Erica likes it. Okay, very good. Highly recommend. Hikey or Hickey is a digital app for neuro spicy peeps. Thank you. Don't forget that you can direct your comments to everyone if you want them to be seen by more than the host and panel. Yes. So let everyone know because those are some really good suggestions. So keeping those in mind. Yep. Yeah, and not forgetting what we started with, right? Okay, we got a queue for 5 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, not forgetting where we started. I'm about to wrap up with that last slide of, we could get excited, build community, build the friend dates, build the connections, but don't get lost to the very first slide that hey, even sharing that with them. These are my intentions with the connections I want to build. This is what friend intimacy means to me. Just like, again, you're dating with a romantic, you have these discussions, right? The flirts and what are you looking for? You could do the same with friends. It's okay. It's not too much. We have to take this more seriously. And this next slide, I think it is, brings it all together. Oh, I just thought this was cute. Top cities for making friends. Hopefully some people are there. Y'all can meet up maybe. Okay. So why this all matters, I'm going to try to wrap this up in 5 minutes. When Pineapple introduced the title of this topic, which was loneliness and epidemic, I don't know why I thought it was just like a play on words or something cute. I didn't think it was serious. I'm a big research data statistics girl. Took a glance preparing for this at the American Psychiatric Association, who found that in early 2024, basically now, 30% of adults say they have experienced feelings of loneliness at least once a week, while 10% say they are lonely every day. This is an epidemic, right? This means that this is so much of a concern that the public health, just like with COVID or diseases and things of that nature, not minimizing or comparing the two, but they're putting on a level of that. This isn't a BuzzFeed article or a Elle or Vogue. This is the APA putting this out. The people that literally write the diagnosis that I do my work on. So this is clinically and scientific based. So this matters. We are evolving as humans, right? We're all wanting to heal and do the work. That comes with the responsibility of, I want more for myself and I want more for my relationships. People are craving the meaningful, the relationships of substance, the vulnerable and people that I can be raw and unapologetic with. So this is why this is so important. I'm glad people are here and I'm glad that our panelists could kind of expand on it a little bit more. But this is our why. So when we talk about friends, it's not just a silly thought that was developed, in grade school. This is a connection that follows us well on beyond adulthood on into our lives. Who we surround ourselves with, the ways of which we connect to others are vital, right? So, who knows, maybe the 30% are people that are on this call right now that have been present within this event. We can't just say cool quote, cool stat and end there, right? We have to make the steps. So with that, I can't wait to open the panel and kind of take a deeper dive into what that all could mean and what that looks like on another level. But I did just want to end with that, and I could put the article, the full one, in the chat. But yes, it's all just as saying how we all are wanting that connection piece. So don't feel alone in wanting so. Don't feel like you are wrong for wanting more for your friendships and relationships and connection. That's totally valid. Okay. Yes. Volunteering could help with meet with people. I like that as well. Absolutely great, Grayson, no problem. Burnt out, trying with new friends. Yeah, and that might, goddess, that might be a sign. Let me focus on me for a bit. Okay, remembering that reciprocation and pouring too much in, even fans into the friend zone. I believe in bringing fans into the friend zone. That's interesting, Pink. Wondering if that might lead to a hierarchy, or does that actually have some beneficial um transactional things. Okay, they're kicking me off, but thank you so much, everyone. Let me okay. Did it kick me off? Am I still? No worries, no worries. Okay. So we're still going. I think they're going to get the panelists ready. No worries. So yes, thank you, everyone. I'll still be here to guide that conversation, but just wanted to thank everyone for your interaction and for your insight. Yes, I will share the link now while y'all prepare the panelist. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I'm happy to go first. Mark Hassel, welcome everyone. Thank you for having me along. I've worked in the adult industry now for over 22, 23 years, for behind the scenes, not in front of the camera like these amazing people. I work in a sales, marketing, business development capacity. I've worked for lots of brands, Adult Work, Paul Raymond, webcam, content creation, crypto, lots of different bits and pieces. Currently working for Cam4 as a UK regional manager, handling onboarding, plus customer service, plus marketing. I'm also the chairperson for SNAP, the support network for adult professionals, which is a trade association in the UK. And I'm a community liaison officer for Pineapple Support. So that's me.
Thank you, Mark. Welcome.
I mean, I'll go if nobody else is ready.
Erica, yeah.
I'm Erica Love. Hi, everyone. I am a content creator and Pineapple Support Ambassador. I actually live in Austin, Texas, which apparently is one of the friendliest cities in the United States. And I actually think that's true because you can, if you just want to talk to people in Austin, you just ask them about their day or what kind of coffee they like, and people just talk here. That Southern hospitality is very real in Austin. But when I moved to Austin, I knew two people. I had moved here right before the pandemic. I had briefly lived in the Bay Area, California, where I made no friends. It was so hard to make friends there. Again, I knew like two people there when I moved. So that was a big part of the reason I actually moved to Austin, because I wanted to live in a place where I felt like I could build a community of middle-aged, single, child-free individuals like myself. And the thing that really got me to make new friends was getting a dog. So getting a puppy, putting myself out there, meeting other people that have dogs, going to parks, that really helped. And, I mentioned in the chat, I had tried Bumble BFF, at one point, and networking, and, it's awkward at first to put yourself out there that way, but it definitely works, my experience.
Gotta love the fur babies. Thank you, Erica. I think Ashley, you were next, or Emma, sorry. Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that presentation, Devin. The frientimacy part really was so interesting to me. So I am Emma, I'm a CAM model, I'm a life coach, and I'm also the founder of Imperfectly You. And we are the online platform dedicated to the well-being of sex workers. So this presentation is really it really plays into kind of what we are doing at the moment. So within the platform that we have a really amazing community. We have support, events, and education, all specifically for sex workers. So the reason that I kind of started this whole project was that for so many years, the past 4 years of working in this industry, I have felt really isolated doing this work. You know, I don't know anyone else that does it. And although I have like friends and family that I trust and I love and I know, and they know what I do, there's always been this big gap between, you know, this other part of my life with the work that I do, because those people, if they don't work within it, don't understand it. So creating this new community has been, yeah, such a big shift and change for me mentally, emotionally. So yes, and I think there's somebody in the panel who is actually not the panel, in the chat, who's part of the community. So I think it's, if Maddie's still here, hi.
Thank you. Thank you for the space you've created, and I can't wait. Hopefully to could drop your organization.
Oh yeah, I'll pop it in. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think that leaves Ashley. Ashley Ace.
Yes, hello. Yeah, my name is Ashley Ace. I am a BBW content creator. I have been in the industry 7 years now. I've done everything from camming to content creating, OnlyFans. I'm about to come up actually on my 1-year anniversary of my very own website. So ashley.com will be 1 year old on my birthday. So that'll be fun. My husband and I just launched a production company a couple months ago for Naughty Fun Productions. And I do all kinds of things. I love to do like product reviews. I love to do like sexual education, stuff like that. I recently actually just kind of on a whim went and I got employed with I started working with the Love Store here in Las Vegas, just so I can really kind of be in the trenches and really be with the community and seeing what is you know, kind of what everybody is into, what everybody's all about, kind of with the product really in my own community in Las Vegas. So I'm really working with you know, with the community, and it really kind of gets me to understand the product and really what the people want. So and I can really face to face and one-on-one help people, educate people, and just give orgasms all around.
Agreed. All right. So yeah, thank you, Ashley A's, and all our lovely panelists. I'm going to dive right into the questions so that we could have time and space to really get y'all's insight, which I'm actually eager to hear as well. So let me pull up the first question, and whoever wants to just dive into it, feel free. So the first question for you all are going to be, what are some things that you look for when it comes to building healthy community and connections?
If you don't mind, I'll go first, unless somebody else wants to. I'll try and keep this. Everyone knows me, I talk a lot, so I'll try and keep this really brief. I've looked at this in a very different way, so hopefully you don't mind. I've kind of looked at it from answering from an industry perspective in regards to connections to communities, but similar to how I handle personal relationships. So when building a healthy community or fostering strong connections professionally and personally, what I do is I focus on finding alignments in values and shared goals. That's very important. Even though I work behind the scenes with my roles with Snap, Pineapple Support, and Cam4, I think the principles are very similar to that with content creation and performers. I believe in treating people with the same respect and consideration that I would want for myself. Integrity, transparency, and mutual respect are obviously essential, but respecting boundaries is paramount, especially in adult content creation, but also in life. That's how I see it. The way I look at it, if these values aren't present, it could be that it's a sign that it may not be the right environment for myself, but it doesn't always mean I stick to that. And I'm probably going to lose friends now and connections by saying all this, but that's kind of the way I see things. As an example of how aligning values works for me in my daily work, I believe in customer service, support, helping others are key priorities for myself. So this is why I was drawn to working with Cam4, because they shared that commitment. So I kind of taken that for other connections. Being surrounded by people, I think people like that can lead to greater achievement, closer bonds, and a stronger community. But again, it doesn't mean that if they are different, it can't work, because everyone's different, right? And this is what makes the world the most amazing place it is. I also seek out diversity in thought and experience, because it brings richer discussions and more innovation, ideas and friendships. The beauty of working in this industry, as everyone knows, is that everyone's unique, which opens up endless opportunities to learn, to grow, adapt, and build amazing connections. Not everyone's like that. There are some bad people and there's some good people, but I built up some amazing relationships in my thing, and I've taken those relationships from a work perspective into my personal perspective. They know my family, they know my children, they know my partner, and so on. So I've been able to do that. But yeah, a healthy community thrives on mutual exchange. You've talked about this earlier on, reciprocation. I think that's an important part, where everyone gives as much as what they're going to receive, and so on, and it can't be one-sided. I look for environments that balance support, transparency, and accountability, so everyone's uplifted and brings, like, being challenged to grow both personally and professionally. So the adult industry, as I said, offers a unique and vibrant space for building these connections, I believe, where people from all walks of life, backgrounds, cultures, and work styles. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity to contribute to not just an industry growth, but a personal growth. I think there's a lot you can take from the industry that you can go back into your personal life. The blend of diversity and shared values creates a perfect foundation for thriving. That's what I believe. Supporting communities where everyone can flourish together, because that's what it's about. That's why I got into the industry. That's what I'm about. And it's very much who I try to work with. And I take that work life, because I work so much, and I think I have more of a work life than a personal life. I kind of take what I can into the other bits and pieces. So that's my take. Hopefully I've not waffled too much, and I do apologize.
No worries, Mark. Thank you. And I like how you capitalize that, the industry versus how that even shapes the outside relationship. Sometimes it's in reverse. So I'm hearing that a lot, from both the creator or the behind the scenes, and how that's shaping their outside relationships. So thank you for bringing that up. Erica, Love, I see your hand up as well.
I completely agree with Mark. I think people that have shared values in my sort of personal friendships and my work friendships is something that I look for. One of the challenges I run into at times is that I don't really drink. I'm kind of an old lady. I like to go to bed super early and, again, hang out with my dog. And, like, if I have to hang out with you until 3 a.m. at a bar to become your friend, like, that's never going to work for me. So I do a lot of, do you want to get coffee? You want to go get some tacos? Like, you want to go to a yoga class, whatever, or I don't know, some other crazy fitness class, like something like that we can have that shared experience and get to know each other, is definitely important to me. And then on the work side of things, meeting other creators, I feel really lucky to have made true friendships, I think, in this industry. Usually those people have the same work ethic as I do. Like, when we're working together, we are on a mission. We know we need to get stuff done. There is no drama. It's very professional. We get the job done. And that's what I look for in kind of my work relationships. And then, of course, that's like the foundation of trust to be able to move into like real friendship, like you said, that frientimacy. I think sometimes in the content creator world, people confuse those intimate experiences for friendship when that's not true intimacy. And so my advice to people that are content creators looking for friends, just be aware of those types of things. And just because you make content with somebody doesn't mean that they're your friend. And, learn to navigate that. And if anybody has questions, feel free to reach out, because it's weird at first, and that's okay. Like, it should feel weird, but you're not alone in that weirdness. And like, even connecting with people like Emma's great. She randomly reached out to me. I see her hand up, and like, I know I could reach out to her anytime I needed to talk about something or had a question. Like, so, just say yes to people at times too when they reach out to you and want to connect. that's also just a really good way to start a conversation, get to know someone.
Absolutely. Thank you, Erica. Emma, your hand's up.
Yeah, so I did randomly reach out to Erica, and we don't get off the call because we have so much to talk about. And it's been so nice connecting with you, Erica. So thank you for that. But yeah, the idea of building a healthy community and connections is obviously, as a community owner and as a sex worker myself, is something that's always at the forefront of my mind. And I try to have like some really important questions that I always like to ask myself, about the interactions within the community and how it feels. So the first thing is this kind? Does it feel safe? Is it helpful? And like Erica said, is it judgment and drama free? And I feel like these are the foundations that we need to start on with any connections that we have in our life, because, we need to feel safe in order to be authentic. So yeah, that's my take.
Thank you. Yeah, the foundation piece, whether, you take glimpses of what everyone's saying here, build your own. If nothing else is taken away from today, having an understanding that that needs to be built or at least thought about is important. So thank you, Emma. Ashley Ace.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what everybody has said here. In our community, it can be very hard to make those really like, deep, I think, those deep connections, because everybody is kind of leaving, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are leading kind of a double life, so it is difficult to really get that intimate one-on-one time with a lot of people, especially because we travel so much. We're constantly go, go, go. And a lot of us do have really busy lives, outside of the industry as well. So I've found a lot of times, and myself personally, I do go to a lot of these conventions. I go to a lot of the events to meet with people and to try and make friends, but I have really bad social anxiety, so I might really want to meet you, might really want to talk to you. I might think you are just like the best person ever, but my anxiety is like, not today. She's talking. So, I find for myself personally, it is really hard to battle through that, to make connections, to get close to people. And maybe not everybody has social anxiety like I do, which I'm constantly trying to I'm working with my therapist, trying to get, and not get over it, but deal with it in a very healthy way. And, instead of just walking away, be like, well, they didn't come up to me, they hate me. Just be like, well, you didn't go up to them either. You have to make the first step. So for me to get that courage to walk up to somebody mid conversation or in a group, which is daunting to me, is something that I have to work on and work with. And I have talked to quite a few people in the industry, and everybody is like, well, I didn't talk to you because you were busy. So I'm finding that a lot of people do have kind of the same issues that I do as well. So like I always say on all my social media, always that, if you see me, please come say hi to me. And I really am trying to do the same, as difficult as it may be. So yeah, I'm finding, building that sense of community sometimes a little bit more difficult than I would like, than it seems to be. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for being vulnerable with that social anxiety piece. I think more people struggle with that than we know. But it's part of the social anxiety. We're not talking about it or, coming in spaces and speaking on it, to realize, oh, they feel like that too. I can't believe I'm not the only one. So thank you for sharing that, because I'm now seeing in the chat that it resonates with a lot of folks. And is a valid thing. It's easy to come and speak on this and give a list and talk about some bullet points. and give guidance, but sometimes it takes a little extra push, a little extra encouragement, and understanding what's on the other side is worth that too.
Can I follow up on a comment that somebody made actually in the chat? Because they basically mentioned that they kind of had a new friend, and when they told them what they did for a living, that friendship sort of fell apart. And I think we all can kind of relate to that feeling of what's the right time to tell your new friend that you're in the adult industry, or and like what is the, you know, how do you kind of build that foundation of trust so that you don't necessarily feel that rejection? And I think it would be actually great to get maybe your help and opinion on this, because I know I waited like 3 months before I told my new friends that I was doing OnlyFans, and I was just like, I just got to rip off the Band-Aid and tell them and, you know, hope for the best. And, you know, fortunately it went well for me. And I've only really lost like one sort of like college friend who was like, I don't really understand your life choices right now. And I'm like, well, then you were never really my friend, and that's okay.
That evaluation piece. Emma, were you wanting to speak more on that? Okay.
It's, I think it's just something that somebody's just mentioned in the chat box. That was what I was reading, that they mentioned that they work in sex work first. And I think like there's definitely an element of like safety around that as well, because I have tried that and sometimes it has backfired because the wrong person has heard, and then, you know, my safety has been compromised because of that. But yeah, I can completely understand telling somebody straight off the bat, like I prefer to. There's only one very small occasion where it didn't really go as planned. Just something I'm reflecting on personally. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kimora.
And Ashley, is your hand still up, or am I supposed to put it down? Sorry. Do you want to say something else? Okay. All right. Anything else on that question, or any comments before I move on to the next one? Good to go? Okay. So next question for the panelists. Do you feel that your current circle is a direct reflection of who you are or who you aspire to be?
So I'll go again first. Sorry, it looks like I'm batting in, and I do apologize. One of the things that I put in there is that evaluating your friendships. And I said that I never used to do that until I got burned. So now, in terms of my current circle, I believe it is a strong reflection of who I am and who I aspire to be. And I said I got burned, still hurts to this day. So I do now start to evaluate my friendship, and especially I've been in the industry now 22, 23 years. I have friends that was industry based, that were friends back then, that are not so friends now. I think I served a purpose for them, and that purpose is no longer. And it's probably vice versa. I mean, I think that's the thing with especially within the industry, there has to be the connections. I think you need to maybe band your connections with people, as in, and the same maybe with friendships in the industry is like, okay, so that's what that connection's about, and that's what the values between those connections are, and that's what you kind of get out of that, and this is what this connection is. And I think that's how I've learned to deal with it. And I think that the people I said I'm around now, I've intentionally surrounded myself with people who inspire and challenge me, who share my core values. That's something I do now, and it's especially true with the work that I do with Snap, Camphor, and of course Pineapple Support, where the diversity of backgrounds, cultures, and work ethics helps me grow personally and professionally. But one of the things that mentioned is that my circle changes just like everyone else's does, because as I continue to evolve, my friends evolve, and their friendships maybe become a different friendship or become a different connection. So my circle evolves with me, reflecting the person that I've now become, or I am becoming as well. so I look at obviously my certain levels or where I want to go, my mindsets, my lifestyle, what I'm doing, who I'm working for, and I seek out maybe people that are already there or in a similar path as well. I'm not saying I'll get rid of those people from before because it makes it sound like I'm a bad friend. That's or whatever else. That's not who I am. But I also do. You want to widen your circle so people are on the same path as you or share the same goals. That's how I see it. And I say that, but I'm also passionate about helping other people as well. So sometimes I open new connections, even if they don't perfectly align to where I'm going or what I'm doing. There's still mutual support and benefits and connections that have a different connection. So that's maybe why I put connections, and maybe I'm wrong, in different boxes and different things, and I work on that based on that and that. And sometimes you look at that and you think, right, that's happened, that's run its course, it's not the same, we've agreed that it's not the same, and we move on, or we just deal with what we do with that connection, but it's very different to another connection. That makes sense. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, time and place, right? That's why that obligation piece, you evolve. And sometimes people do with you, sometimes they don't. My therapist friends versus my non-therapist friends are, I have been flowing between the two, but they are very two different dynamics. So understanding again that obligation piece, not having, unless it's still serving, to continue to commit to things if you've simply grown or onto other things. Before I get into Ashley Ace, I did want to introduce Darling to the space. Go ahead, darling. I see that you're unmute.
Oh my God. Hey,
Hi.
you can see me now?
Yes, we could see you and hear you.
Okay, nice to meet you. I'm Darlene. I am model from Colombia.
Oh.
I appreciate really be part of this amazing interview. And for me, in the question that you do is, I go to start with a little part of my history in the industry and with my friends and family. Because for me, I feel that this part helped me. I was professional model in runways, before I start be model and in the B industry, like the weekend side. I changed last year. I changed many things of my part and my friends for many reasons. Not too much people have said when you say, "Oh, I am weekend model. That's my profession now," and they don't like listen that part here in Colombia. The culture in Colombia is different when you talk about sex and when you talk about enjoy with yourself, and that is like taboo. And when I start, I decide be open with my mind and say, okay, all people that go to be part of my life need know that this is my work. And if they accept that this is my work, go to be fine. And if they don't accept, it's okay. They don't need to be part of my life, and I don't need to be part of their life.
Yeah.
So that was the one point that I do in the first time when I started this career. And was fun because when I started this career, I start to meet more people in the entertainment industry. So this part of my model life, like weekend side, helped me to be part of the entertainment industry and start work with artists. And I do now amazing videos, musical videos and everything. So that helped me to see another part of me for be part in the same group, in the same part that I like, be part of the camp, because I love be part of the camp. I love show my body. I love show my charisma. I love be part of that, and I don't have problem to be part of the nice video and feel like I am important. Like look sexy and look good, and they love love that. And for now, yes, I think that this go help me to be part of my on my career, and I do that fusion. So now I am sure that I wanna be, and now my circle is all that I need for construction that person that I wanna be in the future. Now I working in my brand. That is my name. That is my name, like model.
Yeah.
And now that's working good in that part for me. In my case, like webcam model, first was difficult, but now all people that is in beside me or around me know that I am webcam model, and they accept and they respect me that, and they don't matter if I'm webcam model, they call me, oh, I wanna that you be part of my video song. So I go to do my song next week or something like that, and you can be the model or their actor. And I say, okay, I like that. So now I'm sure that I feel good with that part.
Yes, darling, thank you. Yeah, sometimes just the people will come. When you show up authentically and really don't care, whether somebody likes it or not, the people that, it may take time, like Chase said in the chat, but they'll come. So thank you for sharing that, and welcome again. Ashley Ace, you had something to say?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no, I was just going to kind of add into what Mark was saying about your group, I guess your people, that I've personally found that I think as long as you are like truly your authentic true self, and you are being like honest with like who you really are, no matter like what your personality is, what you like, what you don't like, if that's truly you, and if you're not putting on a show, putting on a front, putting on, some big persona, then anybody that's going to come in contact with you that truly resonates with you and that truly like gets you and understands you, then I think they are those type of people that will be there for the long run and will support you, the good, the bad, the ugly, with anything, because you have really kind of been vulnerable with them and been your true self. I know I've come across times where I'll, be at my absolute lowest, but putting on a face, let's say at a like at a convention or something, have like bad low self-esteem, hadn't made any money that week, everything's just going to shit. All things are just terrible. And then people just kind of see that and feel that. And I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, dude, I've made $5 in 2 days. Like, no, couldn't even afford that if I wanted to. I'm going back and eating crackers. And I've literally had people be like, I got you. Like, let's go. People really, to me, want to, you know, put a smile on your face, want to, like I said, I've literally had people come out of nowhere and be super friendly. And I've made really good connections just being authentic and just being myself. And I try to tell, like my kids, that I try to tell people that are really close to me that, and I'm like, if you are in the industry, whatever you do, because I tell everybody I'm in the industry. I love telling people, I'm like, yeah, I'm a porn star. They're like, you really? Really? And the people that know me, they're like, yeah, I can't see her doing anything else. That's totally her. So people that get it. And anybody that doesn't get it and doesn't get you, then they're just not your type of people, and they're not for you. So, the people that just, want to turn their nose up and be like, oh, can't believe. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. So, yeah, I'm just talking now. But what I really mean to say is I do believe that if you are your true authentic self, then the right people will come. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And just like you're saying, having that, you know, the expectation, because I think I saw some in the chat too, sorry, I forgot the name, like, you know, I feel like I'm settling just for the sake of, you know, being friends, the sake of not being lonely. But even that could be a slippery slope as well, because then eventually over time that now becomes the expectation and what you're used to having around. So always challenging to, again, always go back to the evaluation, and not being afraid to say, you know what, I'm good on that, you know, not having to, you know, I get trying to avoid the loneliness, but sometimes you could feel even more lonely with a group full of people that aren't for you as well. Any more on this one before we ask the next question? And I'll make it the last because I see we have only 10 minutes left. Okay, so the last one, we spoke on, you know, the trying to normalize the friendship breakup more, you know, recognizing when things run its course. Are there indicators for y'all, like signs, those little red flags that let you know it's kind of reaching that time? And if so, are you more of a ghoster? Or are you know, kind of confident in kind of calling that out and ending things and communicating that? No right or wrong answer, by the way.
Do I start again? Sorry. If anyone else, please somebody else jump in before me because
Go
I talked
ahead, Mark, kick us off.
I'll keep it thinking. So I think that you can tell when a connection has run its course. It's when it starts becoming draining, more draining than fulfilling. That's, I think, what you can tell that there's an element there. If a relationship becomes consistently negative, lacks growth, or the effort is one-sided, that to me is a clear sign that there's no longer mutual benefit or mutual benefit on both parties. Another indicator is when your values and your goals and interests have significantly devalued or diverged. At this point, I think it's important to assess whether the relationship can be adjusted to fit in with your current life stage, or if it's best just to part ways amicably, because people change, relationships change, everything changes, and sometimes you can grow together, and sometimes you need to step away for everyone's well-being, not just for your own but for other people's. And I think that the while it may sound harsh, not addressing these changes can lead to more damage and even toxic dynamics, I think, if changes are not made. So it's better to recognize when it's time to move on, ensuring that both parties can continue to grow and thrive. And that may mean not growing and thriving together. It may mean with other people, and the connection has run its course. But one thing I think I need to obviously emphasize is that rather than just, where if I see elements like that, I can see that it's all one-sided and I'm putting all the effort in and they're not doing that and it's becoming toxic. I will always try to communicate and to talk. I think that's important because sometimes it could be just a bit of a mismatch in terms of what's happening and what's going on. I'm not saying talking it out is always going to be the best way forward, but sometimes it can be. But at least if you talk through it and you both explained where you're at, maybe you both amicably agree it is time to move on. But like I said, for me, there are indicators, is when it becomes draining. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, take it away, Emma.
Yeah, just agreeing with what Mark has said, really. You know, sometimes it's when you don't have things in common with that person anymore, you know, like Erica was saying as well, that she's not a big drinker. Let's say you were a drinker in the past and you don't go out till 3 a.m. anymore, and you still have all those friends from that life, you know. It's okay to evolve and for people to change, and you know, for that to lead to like different interests, values, or like lifestyles. Yeah. And I think when you're not connecting like on a meaningful level anymore, and it is just kind of that surface level thing, and you know, and you may ask I ask myself these questions, you know, do I feel seen? Do I feel heard? And are they there for me when I'm feeling down or when I need support? I live quite far away from all of my really close like uni friends and things like that. So my circle is very small. So although I might not be like always in contact and seeing my friends as regularly as I'd like, we are still I imagine the thread just a bit thinner, but we're still in touch, you know? So that also brought me to think about, I don't think I've definitely not spoken to people again, and it's usually been over a big argument or something many years ago. You know, there've been a few friends that have left my life, and as you mentioned, Mark, it still cuts me deep to this day thinking about those almost like romances. That's how they feel when a friendship cuts off that was really important to you or a big part of your life. But I would say that at the moment, and more so recently, it might not be that we're cutting off, it's that we are still friends, that when we see each other, it's still always the same, you know? So you don't have to be in touch all the time to still have that quality friendship, you know? Things can go back to how they were the minute you see each other. So yeah, depends what you both want.
Absolutely. Thank you. Erica Love.
I totally agree with the growing apart thing. You know, I lived in New York for like 10 years, grew apart from a lot of my college friends, which was why I was like, I have to move to California, move to Texas, try things out, put myself out there and kind of build a new life for myself. But I've also had the experience of, you know, the draining feeling that Mark said. And I think that's a very clear warning sign that people should pay attention to, because it does build up over time. And so I can be really confrontational at times. People are surprised to find that out. And I've addressed it, you know, particularly with the heavy drinker friends. They're like, hey, this incident where you were drunk and you didn't handle something very well, like, doesn't sit well with me anymore. And like, you're my friend and I love you, but like, you pissed off our entire circle of friends and you need to own that and apologize and be an adult about it. And, you know, that's really hard to say to somebody. It's hard for somebody to hear, but I think, you know, to just be honest with yourself, you sometimes have to be willing to have the really difficult conversations. And if you're truly friends, then you will work it out. And if not, then it's time for you to move on from that friendship.
Anyone else with our last 4 minutes here? Last remarks, darling? Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I wanna say that one of the things that I like for my relationship, like my family or friends, is be clear and be honest. I always try to be clear where the things that I want, and I love to communicate that things to all the person, because it's important for me that they know what things is good for me and what things don't are good for me, or things that I like or I don't like. So always I try to be more specific or honest possible to be with the person, for trust me, my emotions and my feelings, because always I try to talk. If I know or see that if talking don't working with that person, I need be smart and know that that person don't need be part of my life, because I can say every time in every moment the things. I don't need repeat all the things. So it's for that I try to be always clear, and I'll always be honest with that part in my relationship. So I know I understand what Erica say, because I know the communication is good too. So always be clear in with the communication can help the relationships.
Absolutely clear and direct. I'm just seeing the chat. All right, any other last remarks? I don't want to go over time. I'm not sure if Kelly wants to take it away to exit everyone out, but I did want to thank all the panelists for offering your perspective and your insight. Obviously, it's been glimpses into a lot of people's realities. This chat was on fire. So definitely, you know, encourage everyone to continue the conversation. Don't let it start here, because a lot of, you know, thought-provoking and interesting things were brought up. Wish we could have addressed every single thing, but thanks for everyone's engagement. And thank you to Pineapple Support.